Ever try giving someone directions and they take everything literally?
Oh, yeah.
Like, grab the milk.
Okay.
And if they have avocados, get 2.
Yeah.
And they come back with 2 avocados.
Oh, no.
No milk.
Wow.
Because, hey, you didn't explicitly say to get both.
That's rough.
It's kind of what it's like working with AI sometimes,
It
right?
really is, yeah. You got to be so specific.
And that's where prompting comes in.
Exactly.
This whole thing, how we talk to AI, it's less about coding now and more like guiding it toward what we want.
Guiding, instructing, having a conversation even.
This research paper we're diving into today,
Oh, this is a good one.
it calls it the input you give to guide the AI's output,
Kitschy, right?
which, simpler terms, it's all about how you ask the AI to do something.
Exactly. It's not about the nuts and bolts of the code so much anymore. It's more about how you communicate your goal to the AI.
Okay, so example time.
Hit me.
Instead of coding out this whole big algorithm
Right.
to get it to, I don't know, write an email,
Yeah.
with prompting, you might just tell it.
Okay.
Write a 3-paragraph email,
Got it.
marketing and accounting firm,
Okay.
and it just does it.
And it just does it. That's the power of prompting. It makes AI way more accessible. You don't need to be a coding whiz anymore to get amazing results.
Which is mind-blowing, honestly.
Tell me about it.
When you consider the sheer variety of stuff AI can do,
Oh, yeah.
with the right prompting, I mean.
It's pretty much limitless at this point.
This paper blew me away with all the different techniques out there.
Oh, for sure. It's a whole area of research now.
Did you know there are techniques for different languages?
Absolutely, yeah.
For images, even for audio. It's wild.
Multimodal prompting. That's where it gets really interesting. We'll get into that. I'm sure.
Oh, we're definitely going there.
Yeah.
But first,
Yeah.
I gotta know more about these techniques.
Okay, sure. Pick one. Anyone.
Okay, what was that one called? Few-shot prompting.
Oh, few shot. Good one. It's like the AI just needs to see a handful of examples,
Right.
and it gets the idea. The paper uses this translation example. You give it a couple English words paired with the Spanish equivalent, and boom, suddenly it's doing translations on its own.
No way. So instead of programming it with like every single rule of the language,
Right, all the grammar, the syntax, the exceptions, you skip all that.
you show it a few examples.
A few good examples, and it starts making connections, figuring out the patterns.
That is seriously cool.
It's a game changer, honestly. And then you've got things like chain of thought prompting.
Chain of thought. Okay, that sounds intense.
It's actually really elegant. It's basically asking the AI to show its work. You're not just getting an answer out of the blue, you're seeing the AI reason through the problem step by step.
So it's not a magic black box anymore.
Well, there's still a lot of magic happening under the hood, but this way you get a glimpse into the process.
I like that. Transparency is good. Okay, but wait.
What's up?
You mentioned multimodal prompting before.
I did.
We can't just gloss over that.
We're getting to it. Hold your horses.
Okay, but this is where it gets really wild, right?
Yeah, it does. We're not just talking text prompts anymore. Imagine showing the AI a picture
Okay.
and asking it to write a story about it. Or playing it a piece of music and having it generate a dance routine.
Wait, seriously.
That's multimodal prompting in action, using different types of input to get these really creative, unexpected outputs.
Okay. That's insane.
It is pretty wild. It's like opening up a whole new way of interacting with AI.
So with all these different ways to talk to AI,
Right, it's a whole language to learn.
it sounds like there's a real art to crafting the perfect prompt.
Oh, absolutely.
The paper even calls it prompt engineering.
There are actual prompt engineers out there. It's a whole job title now.
Wow. Okay, so how do you become a master prompt engineer? What's the secret?
Well, if I told you all the secrets, I'd have to. You know?
Oh, come on, spill the beans.
all right. The paper actually does a great job of breaking down the process, and it's not as mystical as it might sound. No secret handshake, unfortunately.
Oh, man.
But it is a process. The paper calls it iterative,
Iterative meaning.
meaning it's a back and forth. You start with a prompt, see what the AI does with it, then tweak your prompt based on the results, and you kind of keep going like that.
So trial and error.
Kind of, but more like guided exploration. The paper actually has this cool diagram, figure 1.4, I think, that shows how it's this loop of testing and refining until you get what you want.
So it's a dance. You're basically waltzing with the AI, trying to lead it towards the outcome you want.
That's a good way to put it. And it's through that dance that you start to get a feel for how the AI responds to different things, how those tiny changes to a prompt can make a big difference in the output.
Okay, so we've covered the power part of prompting, all the amazing things that lets us do with languages, images, you name it. But this being the deep dive, I have to ask, what about the potential downsides? Because anytime something new and powerful comes along, there's always that question of, could it be used for the wrong reasons?
It's like giving someone a super fast car. It can be exhilarating, but you better know the rules of the road and how to handle that kind of speed. This technology is still so new, we're all figuring out the best ways to use it safely and responsibly.
This paper actually uses some pretty intense terms: prompt hacking, jailbreaking. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi thriller. Are we talking about AI going rogue here?
Not quite rogue, but it is about understanding the potential vulnerabilities. Think about those AI-powered customer service chatbots that are popping up everywhere these days.
Oh yeah, those are everywhere now.
What if someone figures out how to hack the prompts? What's stopping them from getting free stuff or even accessing information they shouldn't?
Or what about AI being used in fields like healthcare or finance, where it has access to incredibly sensitive data? The stakes are so much higher there.
Exactly. A jailbroken prompt in those scenarios could lead to data breaches, compromised systems, even damage to a company's reputation. It's not about being alarmist, it's about being aware of the potential risks so we can build safeguards from the ground up. And that actually leads us to a case study highlighted in the paper using AI for something as incredibly important as suicide prevention.
Okay, now this is where the power of prompting meets a real-world challenge. Tell me more about this.
Researchers were trying to train an AI to spot certain language patterns in text messages, signs of entrapment, which are often warning signs for suicide risk.
So instead of having humans manually read through every message, they were hoping AI could help flag those needing immediate attention.
Precisely. The goal was to make suicide prevention efforts faster and more effective, especially online where people might feel more comfortable reaching out for help, but it turned out to be much harder than they initially thought.
Wow. So even with something as important as that,
Yeah.
getting the AI to really understand what it was seeing, the nuance,
It's tough.
that's really hard.
It's not easy. At first it was all over the place, misinterpreting things left and right,
Great.
missing those subtle cues that a human would pick up on, It took a lot of work to get it to a point where it was actually helpful.
How much work are we talking here?
Well, the paper says it took 47 iterations of tweaking the prompts. 47. They even have a name for the process, automatic directed critique.
47 times. That's wild. But I guess it goes to show,
That process.
even with all the advances,
Right, yeah.
AI is not just this magic bullet, right?
No, not at all. It's powerful, sure. But it's still a tool. And like any tool, it takes skill and practice to use it effectively.
Totally. And I think what's so fascinating about this whole field of AI, this whole prompting thing, it's like, yeah, we're trying to get the AI to do whatever you want, but in the process, we're learning so much too, right?
Absolutely. We're learning about the limits of language, about the nuances of thought, even about ourselves. It's a two-way street.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, any final thoughts for our listeners? What's the big takeaway here?
The big takeaway, this is just the beginning. We're living in the early days of a technology that's going to transform everything.
No kidding.
And prompting. It's our way of communicating with that technology, of shaping it, of making sure it reflects our values, our hopes for the future.
So it's not just about the tech itself.
Right.
It's about how we use it, the
Exactly.
responsibility that comes with it.
It's about asking the right questions. How do we make AI work for everyone? How do we prevent it from being used for harm? These are questions we all need to be thinking about.
Because it's not just science fiction anymore. This is real life.
It's here,
Yeah.
and it's evolving faster than most people realize. That's why we do what we do, right? To demystify these complex topics and get people talking, get them thinking about the future we're building together.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Big thanks to everyone for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of AI prompting. For those who want to go even deeper down the rabbit hole, and trust me, this rabbit hole goes deep, check out the research paper we've been discussing, links in the show notes.
It's a wild ride, but well worth it.
And until next time, happy prompting, everyone.